fingertip distance to your opponent. He steps back in the Jumonji, and then I step back in the Jumonji. Then he can punch. Right. Next idea is to, however, it's just a little bit out of reach for him. Enough that he thinks he can, yeah, go ahead. That he can get me a little bit. 45 degrees, sink. Rotate this, and you come up. So that you open him up, right? So, and that lines him up to strike. Sink. You're still monitoring Kihon here. Boom. Hey, try that. So for each one Kihon, I tend to like to have this split kind of a 45-degree angle. This one comes up and rests in the pit of the knee. Like you've got the curvature of the calf, right? So your insole kind of touches that. You're not putting pressure. It's not solid. It's lightly touching. It's poised more than anything. So you're not, a common mistake I see is people being square with this and just doing some weird position. So open that foot up, bend the knee. This one is ready to kick. So the knee's pointing at the target, at the opponent. And so you're slightly bladed. Traditionally, like, if it's Gyoku-ryu, then this hand hides behind the elbow here. Or you can do it this way. But part of the Kyojutsu is you raise this up to open up a target. So he punches, sink as you do get on okay. So it's with the body. And raise this up, right? So you, and you kick with the toes. Or you can kick with a stomp, right? Foot comes back down where it was because of the distance, and the other foot steps forward. As I kick, this is now guarding. Step forward and Urashito. The subtle details is the landing foot changes depending on his reaction. So you block, like if he kind of was still having momentum as he's coming in, right? Then I can step this back again. If he kind of falls back on that, then I may need to chase it a little bit. But generally speaking, it come back to basically under you. Okay. So for him to get a good hit on me, he's got to sink lower so he maximizes the horizontal distance of his arm. If he stays standing straight up, he really won't hit me without risking getting hit himself. Okay. Like in Japanese, it's called like hanmi. Hanmi no kamai. It means like half stance. So, like in judo, they would call like this like shizentai, your natural body, because you naturally will face people when you talk, I guess is the reason. And I don't know what they would call this. Maybe like some kind of hira type thing. Hira means flat. But hanmi is like you're halfway between. You're not fully square and you're not completely bladed. You're halfway. Okay, so Jumonji is like halfway, or really even Ichimonji can be like that. So Jumonji, typically wherever foot is forward, the same arm is in front. So I'm not this way. Right? So punches evade. You still evade by sinking. This time, take your knuckles, and there's this separation between the bicep and tricep. Jakin is the Kyusho. And you use your hips, right, to open them up. Then shift forward with your weight and hit him with a thumb tip bushkin. Right? Then cover here to buy you a little bit of time, so it's a little bit harder for him to see. So he punches, evade off again, still in Jumonji. Hips. right? And then you evade, or you blind again with Mitsubishi, and then you assess. Step back one more time for assessment. So, to see if he's done. So Madison, for years, I've known like this doesn't really hurt him that bad, but most people, that strike is awful. You hit him and it's like, no, I have to punch again? So yes, you have to punch again. Okay, so Jumonji no Kata, it's more than that, but Kihon is fundamental, Sampo is like 3 methods. So Ichimonji no Kata, Jumonji no, or Hicho no Kata, and Jumonji no Kata. So it's the 3 striking forms of Kihon happo. Then there's 5 grappling forms. So Kihon, Torite, Goho. Kihon, again, fundamental. Torite means like capturing hand. Tori is to capture Tei's hand. And then Go is 5 and Ho is methods. So the first one is Motogaku. So first thing is guard. You check the hand. If his hand's down by his side, like if it's dropped like down by his side, then that's fine. You still check it here. If it's up by his jaw, you need to check it here. Like, and you don't have to physically touch it every time. And then this just, you're feeling where the hand is, right? So you start to move, sink first, right? Sink and move out 45 degrees to Ichimonji type movement. At the same time, you come under his wrist. And then grab the gi. Right? Like in the uber basic, it's just here, and you go, and then you do the throw. That's like the uber basic, but we'll try to make it a little more juicy about it. So you drop yourself. It's not so much you raise his hand, but you drop yourself. Right? And it's kind of slightly pulling, because I want to upset his balance a little bit. So as I'm upsetting his balance, you get the thumb on the back of the hand, grab the meat of the thumb with your fingers. The other hand basically does the same thing on the other side. So as you continue to pull, you step this way so that your body position overcomes any resistance he has. All right, so if he pulls, he's got nothing, right? And then you just steer the wrist perpendicular to his forearm. And then you can pin at the end. I guess we'll go to the other side this time. Yeah. So check, 45 degrees. Keep it pulled a little bit. Step around this point while you maintain the pull. And you can see the expression on his face. It's wincing because it hurts. Initially, you probably try to guard the same way, but for practice, he fires a punch. So, again, Ichimonji movement, sink and get out of there. Common errors with this that you'll see is people stepping through for this punch. Now, it's really kind of awkward for him if he actually were to hit me. Some people even say, oh, it's because you're going to pull with this one, extend with that one, that way you get like double power, like as you step through. Yeah, and people don't punch like that. Intuitively, it feels awkward. Really, this hand is to hold me in place so that he knows where I'm at. We're connected. He knows where I'm at. If I put on like protective gear, like a helmet or something, and this is another common thing that I don't care for is people say, okay, he punches and you duck under, and then you hit this. But he's connected. If he really wants to hit me, he'll hit me. I don't care where I move, because appropriate section, he'll know where I'm at. It's like how you pass a sobriety test. The only way that this would work is if he was drunk or something, maybe. Or I just get really lucky. So from here, guarding the same way and still singing off 45 degrees, go ahead. But immediately block and you pull here. Now the traditional one is at this point, you peel this off and do the the same way that you just did. If you're good enough to getting this grip to release. There's the other argument that how this might work. All right, go ahead. is that he decides to let go with his hand and it gives it to me. That's another reason you guard like this. This side. Is if he decided to let go and punch me with his hand, I've already got it tracked. Right? So it's not like it's guarded and suddenly he lets go and I'm going to eat it. So it's anchored, so it's hard to deal with, but if he lets go, well, it actually opens up things for me. So that's one reason to guard that way. Anyway, so block, pull here. What I like to do is whether he starts to pull back for a second punch or I just push, follow his elbow pit with your hand. Make this straight. Right? So I step in a little bit as I go through and start to break his kamae. And pivot around. Keep this straight and pull and push. And take the leg. And be ready if he doesn't let go. If the person's much smaller than you, like Deng-san or Joe-san over here, sorry. As you come down, you can block the other foot. Right, and throw it. A little bit harder to do with people who are a little bit bigger. The issue when they're much smaller, if you go for the one leg, right, is they tend to step around it because they're so light. If he steps around it, he's still in a bad position. Right? Anyway, try and multi-gaku ski. Sink 45 degrees out while you distract. And then grab the back of his hand. Really important to put your thumb in this little gap. You don't have to like dig it in or anything. You just need to be ready. Right? You can use both hands to push and use your hips to turn. Right? And then raise it up so that his spine now is out of kilter. Then you sneak in with your foot and the hand goes to the elbow. And it's not that you're pushing or doing much with this, it's just a brace. I'm not doing much with this, right? So then you've got the bisecting line, take him on that line. It's easy to throw him. All right? So check, distract, get the proper grip, use both hands. Don't do the mistake of this, because now you give him his back, or give him your back. So this way, if something changes, I can just let go and use this hand again. And if he throws a punch or something, well, then now we're back to this one. Or you can hit him, whatever. So here, pop. Both. Right? Raise it up high. Takiori, the bend in the wrist. Here. So that way when you start to take him, take his leg out at the same time. Same thing, start to sink. And this is a general principle is, if you can get your hips slightly lower than your opponent, that's generally a good thing. If they're much shorter than you, maybe you don't get that advantage. But lower typically is better. So here, pulling and putting intent in this hand to get him to focus on this hand. This hand, or this arm is very light. So, and I put a lot of tension in this, right? There's also like, it's not pulling back and then trying to go forward. He'll instantly read that. It's pull as this goes forward. It's more about the tension on it. Then as this is clearing, take a little bit of a step forward and sink and drop through the pit of his elbow. Right? To start breaking the balance. Then you can pivot around his foot and you end up behind him and parallel to him. Right? Then you can slightly pull up on this if his shoulder's placed in your right position. This one's a safe position. And you kick this leg out. You okay? You sure?
Yes.
Okay. So pull, sneak past, sink. The sinking is very important. And pivot around that point. I like to, you want this like lined up with his elbow, so, and not curling but with the bone. And then open up, because you know he's gonna fall. That way you've got at least, or maybe a knee slam. Okay. Same idea, kind of an ichi-mochi type movement and sink. So sink as you step. So sink as you step and lift this elbow up. Just cover the back of his elbow. This is just a touch. I'm not putting any pressure. Or the only pressure is to, and I don't know if you can feel this, slightly getting you out of balance. But subtle, very subtle. Right. Yeah, there's the adjustment, right? So, and you rip this through as you change your feet. So this is the hard part. You leave this foot here, you move your other foot in, but you keep your body back here. So you go off balance on purpose for a moment, for a split second. I guess anybody who watches this video is going to be like, you know, this martial artist said go off balance on purpose, he's a dumbass, doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Whatever. Jeez, if you never go off balance, never step in your life. Don't ever take a step. So, anyway, keep your upper body back here as you rip this and then move your feet. Because that keeps the balance out for him. This is really tight. So then you shift, right? Shift, gives balance more, and then twist. So 45 degrees, sink, cover the elbow, change the feet. Keep this up, right? And then shift and twist. Okay. Let's try it again.